other a lot better. Paul?
All right, let's go to Steven from Virginia. You're on Sikkim 365 Radio. Thanks for your call.
Hey, guys. I kind of wanted to think that there are the three most important factors in the expansion, whether it's 2 more or 4 more, are enhancing schools that are in the Big 12 with natural rivals. I think I've said this before. It really hurt West Virginia to not have anyone nearby to play. And I think, like, if you add Memphis and Boise State, Memphis gives Cincinnati and West Virginia a natural rival, and then Boise State puts you out there next to BYU. And then the other thing I think you have to consider is like recruiting pipelines in a certain way, because if you look at schools like Nebraska, Colorado, Arkansas, these schools that left, they're not doing as well as they used to do when they were in the Southwest Conference or in the Big 12 because they can't recruit Texas. And if you added USF and had 2 legit schools in Florida and you could recruit kids from Florida and Texas, I mean, there's so many good players in the state of Texas that Colorado or that Missouri or that Arkansas, these schools could get by. Missouri could win the SEC East because they had a bunch of 3 stars from Texas. They can't do that in the SEC anymore. And then the last reason, I think SMU is a legitimate look where I didn't think so before, because I think Sherwood Blunt and the Naughty Nine sat there at Campese's restaurant when the NIL came out and said, we're back, baby. They have just as much money as Houston, and they may not own Dallas, but they will if you give them a chance. Later, guys.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Appreciate it on the East Coast from Virginia. Appreciate your time.
You know, on SMU, I've had my eyes open to that a little bit as well about, not what they are, what they have been, but what they could be. And so they make far more sense in that regard. I think the natural rivalries thing is a great point, and there are a lot more potential rivalries now than we've seen, created really in the Big 12. I think as far as geography goes, those examples you gave would make a lot of sense and probably make all parties happy to have somebody kind of naturally, geographically, sort of as their already built-in rival. But to the recruiting point, I mean, there's been many people that have said it. Nebraska has been hurt significantly by the fact they can't recruit Texas anymore. No?
Yeah. No. They used to be able to come in, pick and choose, and get an elite player or 2 from Houston or West Texas or somewhere. Yes.
But since they left the Big 12, their recruiting has not been the same, particularly in Texas. And I was listening to an interview Ivan Maisel did, and he was talking about conference expansion. This was somewhat recent. And he said that he thinks everything's pretty much died down now as far as like immediate movement, which is not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about future movement. With that future, the timeline uncertain. But as far as like an announcement of somebody in the next week or 2, he's like, no, I don't expect that. Or even in the we're in the season now that you can't really do a whole lot. So we're not going to have seismic movement during the course of a season. But he did say, I'm not really sure who the Big 12 could go out and get that would be marquee or they could poach from other conferences. And he said, my thought with the Pac-12 was the Arizona schools, and he did bring them up. So, a lot of us have the same thought as in regards to them. But he did mention that Arizona State in particular, a lot of their recruiting is in Los Angeles. So that's something that they would have to take into consideration is, do you lose that California recruiting if you were to make a move like that? So, recruiting is something that comes into play here, and those coming into the conference should get a boost in Texas and in other states where there's Big 12 footprints because of that affiliation.
All right, when we come back, thank you, Craig, Paul, David Smoak right here on Sick. Did we just thank each other? I think we did. I didn't mean it that way, but thank you as well. 254-339-1122. Max Olson will join us, our first guest off the top at 4. Jack, do you have that shot? Do you we're in the studio. We have the state-of-the-art technology, the studio, the cameras. It's an amazing look. And Jack McKenzie's in the studio and has been. Jack, of course, has been running the mothership in recent months, it seems like to us. This person right here is Armstrong Sims, brand new employee.
Yeah.
Welcome to the job, Armstrong.
Yeah.
Very nice to see. He passed all of the HR protocols. That's Armstrong. He's an intern from Baylor. And joined us today to help run the mothership. It's great to see him.
Enjoy your fruit basket.
Don't get too close. He bites.
Yeah. We might give you a chance to respond to all of this negativity here at some point. I just got something from